Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Dealer, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season, I think it's 14. Anyway, this was in the earliest time slot on Saturday, so I was probably a bit tired, needless to say. I did have a match prior to this that I pretty much lost on the ban pick phase, but I did mess around with it just to see what would happen. They did use a Sylvaria, and I tried to see if I can reflect kill her sniping with the Awakened. Unfortunately, I was about 1,700 damage short, so I couldn't do it. And also, I have a growing hatred for McLean, so no surprises there. Anyway, as for our opponent here, one trend I definitely been seeing is people just going with one healer, and that one healer being Rose and Seal. And letting them have Rose and Seal tends to be rather painful. Also, a lot of people if they do bring tanks, tend to have Landius, mainly because of his aura reducing AoE or range damage, essentially. So him and Christiane are definitely problems for this box in a lot of cases. In any cases, besides that, not much else to talk about. Yeah, it looks like a 3-tank, 1 healer setup. And we got a mixture of assassins or people that can yank you away. And then a little bit of rush AoE type stuff, but nothing too crazy. In any case, go ahead and ban Rose and Seal right off the bat. They banned my Awakened. I take Rose and Seal. So yeah, this is something I believe the first time I'm trying this, where I pick a healer immediately, despite the fact I still had 4. Because Rose and Seal is just that good, and having her around makes things like Leon a lot easier to deal with. And of course my opponent read into that and immediately started banning my DPS. And they pick Grin Shield. So that's why I go ahead and get rid of their... Mainly I was getting rid of Kyura just to prevent her passive healing. Get rid of Landius because of his damage reduction for everyone else. I go ahead and grab Agnes here, just for AoE damage, also for additional to help deal with the assassins that are going to be coming my way. They do go ahead and ban both my 2 of my tanks, including Hilda here, which means I don't have an effective way of preventing displacement. And sure enough, grabs Archon of the Moon. So we're going to have to deal with displacements. I go ahead and get rid of McLean because he's just going to destroy me on this map. Get rid of Oboro because I don't really have an answer for him once he transforms. Go ahead and grab my tank at this point. So I grab Lightbringer. They start banning the rest of my DPS. I grab SP Leon. Go ahead and ban the main tank busters. Go ahead and grab Lucretia. 4th pick Lucretia, who would have thought. At this point I go ahead and lose Christiane, and I lose Liana. Best case scenario would have been possibly to get Christiane, just for some additional tank options, just so I can not worry about the pulls that Archon of the Moon is going to do. But leaving me with Sissy White gives me a little bit of flexibility anyway. And then they grab Rodham. I wasn't too worried about Rodham. The biggest issue with any of these assassins is Lucretia, because Lucretia doesn't really have a way of preventing damage as effectively like Shrine Maidens. So I grab Sissy White, I ban pretty much the rest of their DPS, and leave them with their choice of tank. I'm not too concerned about crits, and I don't do any displacement. Lightbringer's going to be annoying because she is pretty magic resistant, but it's better than the alternative. So yeah, 2 healers, 2 DPS, and a tank. Alright, so for this run, I did go ahead and grab Bounty. This has a global range, costs 2 coins, and it applies a permanent debuff that reduces damage taken, or increases damage taken by 10%. It also ignores immunity, so even crystal barriers don't stop it. So the idea here is just to put as many of these up as possible, just to kind of help my damage as much as I can. I only have Lucretia and Agnes for the most part. I did pick up, I went ahead and swapped in Ice Dragon Breath, just for a little bit of extra AoE. Also, it does have the ability to mobility down, which if Lightbringer is not immune to it, can give me a way to bypass guard if I need to. Besides that, 3C heal, Agnes, 3C, all for AoEs. Lucretia, I brought Black Hole, and then Free Strike in 3C. Then Lightbringer, I brought Light Flow with Fatigue's Glow and Discipline, so kind of the staple stuff there. My opponent here, we got Rodham here with Sand Sea Mercenaries, Riposte, Scrapnel, and Furious Duel. Shield here, pretty standard kit with Air Slash and War Falcons. Lightbringer did bring Strengthen. Archon, and also went with Guardian Infantry. Oh, speaking of troops, I did go with Holy Guard Mages since pretty much my opponents are going to be doing mostly just physical damage. I don't really need the benefit from Tiamat's armor. Archon of the Moon. I never know these moves, but 3C Tidal Surge in his passive essentially, and then we got Leon here, SP class. So he got his 3C, his whatever this passive thing is, and then Chivalry. Alright, so yeah, this is going to be rough for a lot of reasons. So I go ahead and get Rodham debuffed, getting that started. And I'm going to go ahead and summon to get a little bit of a formation going. So I'm not too concerned about Lightbringer by herself, because I'm not going to be attacking that much, or at least that's my intention. So a lot of things to worry about. I have to worry about Archon of the Moon yanking people outside my guard range. I have to worry about Grinshield putting out her shield and disabling my guard. Yeah, we're worried about Leon just doing damage. And then we have Rodham who can bypass guard. So pretty much everything I would despise in a run, in a battle, or an Apex match rather, is pretty much in this box, or in this battle, or this Apex match. Yeah, words. Take that. Anyway, Archon of the Moon did get his Breeze proc. Pretty much anyone in Gold 3 is probably going to be running around with Breeze or Clock. I tend to try not to do that because I don't like relying on RNG, but apparently the RNG is always in the favor of the opponent, so like that Breeze there. So 2 Breeze procs in a row. I believe it's 30% chance. And he procced 3 in a row. And that's my life in this in this game. I really wish they didn't put freaking this type of RNG in a competitive PvP game, but whatever. So big thing here, Grinshield was in range, so she does have her shield up. While that shield is up, she is immune to debuffs. And yeah, so with Breeze, there's no way I could stop this. She's going to get the shield out and throw it on something. So for right now, I go ahead and put Black Hole out. Now the good news is that the damage goes, in the case of Black Hole, the damage goes and then the debuffs. So as long as I take down the shield, I was able to apply some debuffs, which kind of helped out. Unfortunately, the debuffs are not the ones I wanted. Silence would have been nice. But this was better than nothing. I could have moved really far in and tried to attack with 3C, but 3C I don't think would... it would not kill for one thing, and it would be guarded by Lightbringer. So it's not exactly a viable option. I did hit Lightbringer for some damage, but nothing too crazy. And then I use this to kind of shift position here. The big thing to count right now is Archon of the Moon. So Archon of the Moon does have Tidal Surge, so he can go to about here, and then his grab range is to here. So right now we're kind of okay as far as the grab range is concerned. But he's actually oh, by the way, 4th Breeze proc. So have fun with that. So yeah, he decided to go after my my puppet. Which I'm kind of okay with, because that means his stuff is on cooldown and I don't have to worry about him for a little bit. But him getting a kill does refresh all their buffs. So I go ahead and move in, put another bounty up, this time on Grinshield. And I go ahead and shift up here. So now I'm at least safe from the shield drops at the moment. I did say only for a moment. As he goes in and kills my troop there. Now the good news is this did eat up a another ability, so I have a little bit of breathing room as far as guard bypassing goes. But yeah, at this point I'm going to get hit with the shield. My guard's going to get disabled, so I went ahead and just fell back. Put up as much as I can to prepare for what's coming. And since I have nothing to lose, I go ahead and just blast away. So I was actually a little surprised Leon did not rush me. By the way, another breeze proc. Yeah, it's actually really insane, and breeze is really, really good when you get them early. So here we go, air slash against Langrisser, and I managed to get kill, so I counter killed it. Now, bad news is that shield is up, and I can't guard, I can't move away. Langrisser is on the verge of death. There's not much I can do here. So I go ahead and fall back, just try to get out of range as much as I can. And I try to heal up as much as I can. And then Leon did not do chivalry or anything like that, just went ahead and opted to just blast away. So Agnes managed to do the self-res. Now good news is I made pretty much everyone immune to fixed damage. I think the fixed damage, that immunity that she had, I think was probably from the puppet. And then, of course, the AoE from the 3C finished her off. The good news is that Shuffle got Lightbringer out of the sword range. Actually, or it's not the sword range, the shield range. But that doesn't even matter. Him moving on top of the shield meant his terrain overlapped it. So the shield is actually gone, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. So with that, I go ahead and move in, and I attack holy troops against demon troops and, of course, Leon. So with that, I have guard up. I managed to kill 2. He's killed one of my units. I go ahead and keep throwing out glow hammers, just do as much damage as I can. I am pressed against the mist, but I need to do what I can here. Go ahead and do Ice Dragon Breath, just doing as much extra damage as I can. I did mobility down the tank, so I don't have to worry about that for now. Alright, put Bounty up on Archon and the Moon. I go ahead and put out an infantry. And the infantry here, the only purpose here was just to use Reward to remove those buffs, because now that Grid and Shield is gone, they can't be faction buffed. So little by little, I'll just disable what I can. And the fire terrain that Leon put out will only last for 2 rounds, but it's going to be the longest 2 rounds ever. So yeah, blasting away as much as I can, whittling them down. Gonna go ahead and get hit by some of this. Furious Duel. This actually does pretty good damage. But I'm at full HP, so even with the crit, it is reduced pretty significantly. So heal up as much as I can. Yeah, I'm practically on the mist now. And there's not much I can do about it. So faction buffs herself. I thought about moving in and attacking, but that would put me out of guard range. Actually, I think at this... The other thing I think was also my buffs have worn off. It's hard to say. Yeah, I would not have been able to get kill, because he got self-healed from all of his 3C nonsense. So I do Desperate Measures, which is kind of not the best call, but it's kind of my only call. The bad part about this is it overlapped all of our faction buffs, because they're all plus 30%. And they only last for 1 turn. Archon Moon stuff is all off cooldown, so he's in the position to go ahead and start blasting me with Moon Phase Pull again. Rodham's Riposte is almost back up and running again, and Lightbringer is just going to kind of exist. So I was a little surprised by this melee attack with Riposte. It ended up coming up short, which was a little surprising. So this is, yeah, this was with Shrine Maidens, by the way. So I'm supposed to take like 75% less damage, but man, he He did some real damage there. Now the thing about Riposte though is it's a ranged attack, so him going to melee actually made it less effective. But yeah, that was crazy. That's a lot of damage. I mean, it wouldn't have killed, but still. Alright, at this point I go ahead and move in. Discipline. Not quite a kill, but almost. So I think I should have moved Agnes into the fire instead. That would have actually kept her from being pulled. And I mean, at worst case, if Rosensteel got pulled instead, which wouldn't help. Yeah, so I should have moved. Yeah, I definitely should have moved Agnes here, because otherwise, and then that would have prevented Archon of the Moon from doing any pulls. But I didn't, so now Agnes is going to get pulled, and she's my last DPS. Yeah, and she ended up being just a bit short of actually being able to get kill here. And his 3C also does self-healing. So I go ahead and move in to attack here and do practically no damage, mainly because my faction buff is down. So she strengthens herself. So I try to kill with this. And still can't get kill. And then I go ahead and go here and finally get my one kill. No, I didn't. Actually, I was just short. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was not fun. So title search here. And actually decides to attack. So I go ahead and move in to heal. Go ahead and do summon mercenary infantry here. And only do 20 damage. Alright. Counter kill here will at least get me the kill. So that's her self-res gone. So my biggest issue right now is I need to kill both these guys. My opponent is way ahead, like doubles my damage. So I can't win through attrition. So all I can do here is just throw out what I can and hope for the best. And Discipline has a 1-turn cooldown, so I have to kind of space these out. Alright, we're taking the center 6 tiles. I go ahead and do Ice Dragon Breath here to disable guard. Go ahead and use this opportunity to go ahead and faction buff. So the mobility down from Ice Dragon Breath lasts for 2 rounds, or 2 actions. But I go ahead and do this anyway. Again, I did the same mistake as I did before, which is I overlapped my faction buff. What I should have done was just do the 3C and not worry about the extra action. Just do it for the buff and then have her buff up later. But I did get a kill off of Archon of the Moon. Faction buffs have worn off for Archon of the Moon, so he's kind of just relying on whatever buffs happen to go his way from Lightbringer here. Moonface Pull, which is not going to do anything as far as endangering any of my units. And actually decided to not attack, instead just goes into... Oh, actually, he was still able to do it. So 3C here. Pew pew. Yep, gets kill. So there goes my life. Alright, so just healing up as much as I can. So at this point, I have 2 turns. I have to kill both these guys in 2 turns, or my opponent will win simply from having higher damage. Faction buff is still on cooldown. I have Discipline, Light Flows on cooldown. My 3C's on cooldown. I have Bounty, but that's not going to be that very helpful. And Rose and Seal stuff is on cooldown. And the mobility down is going to wear off in a second. So I go ahead and keep attacking as much as I can. This also gives me guard range. Well, I have guard range regardless. So I'm not sure why my opponent decided to attack here. Oh look, another breeze proc. Honestly, I think it would have been better for my opponent just to sit back and just tank the hits instead of getting counterattack damage. Because yeah, in 2 turns I would not have been able to take him from max to 0. So yeah, so we have this round and the next round to clear them all out. But since my opponent keeps attacking, now Lightbringer attacking at least provides healing, so it does slow me down a bit. So I go ahead and do this again. This is mainly just to get my guard buff back up, and then I do my 3C again. And here's the important thing. I summon Cavalry. And I go ahead and do Smash. And that will disable guard. So Smash makes it so deep defense down and unable to guard. So now I have free reign to attack Archon of the Moon with my 30% buffs and kill Archon of the Moon. So here's the big thing. I have to kill Lightbringer in a turn, essentially. So I go ahead and just start throwing whatever I got at her. There you go, 15-20. So strength in here. $20 damage there. I attack as well. There you go, a little over 3,000 damage there. I go ahead and attack with Rose and Seal here. I didn't even look at the damage. So here's the important thing. My 10U buff, the 10U buff that came up was plus attack and plus intelligence. I think this is the only reason I was able to get kill here. I think that was the only reason. Yeah, because without it, I don't think my guard... Yeah, I don't think I would have been able to do enough damage. Because we've seen how much damage I do with a normal attack. But yeah, I have to do this. This is round 12. I do just enough damage. So round 12, get my win. I pretty much won because of a 10U proc. But since my opponent got literally like 5 breeze proc, like infinite breeze procs in the beginning, I think it's balanced out. But yeah, really, really brutal fight. And it was against a lot of things that I don't like fighting, so I'll consider that a victory. Not much else to report on. I've been so busy with other stuff, I haven't had time to work on covenants or anything like that. I definitely need to eventually switch over to what's his face. Heimdall. Heimdall has better defenses. But unfortunately I don't have him fully geared out because I usually don't use him that much. So what I need to do, essentially, I keep saying I need to do it, but I never do it. I need to do the latest Ragnarok Realms, you get those orbs, and then use those orbs to max out Heimdall, and then switch over to him for PvP. Because he will provide me more, better defensive buffs overall, which I need defensive buffs more than I need anything else. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Definitely a long fight, but it was a pretty entertaining one. One that it's not often that I have to run into so many issues that I have to actually deal with and actually succeed. So we're pretty happy with that. So until next time, I'm the This is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 14. I'll see you guys later.